Imagine this. You've achieved success. The house, the car, the recognition, yet something feels missing. You're surrounded by noise, but you feel empty. You're scrolling through life, but not really living it. You laugh, but the laughter doesn't echo. Deep down, a quiet voice whispers, "Who am I, really?" Welcome to the beginning of a journey not outward, but inward, a journey of self-discovery. This is not a self-help trend or a motivational slogan. It is a radical act of courage, a world that wants you to conform, obey, and stay numb. This journey is not easy, but it is the only one that leads to freedom, real, uncheckable, inner freedom. And the first step, it starts with the uncomfortable truth. You are not who you think you are, the mask you wear. We all wear masks. Carl Jung called it the persona, the version of ourselves we present to the world. It's who we think we should be, polite, controlled, likable, successful, the problem. Over time, we confuse the mask with our true self. We forget that it's just a role. We play it so well, we begin to believe the performance. But beneath that performance lies something deeper, a shadow, not evil, but unseen. It's the parts of ourselves we suppress, reject, or deny, our anger, our desires, our vulnerability, our shame, our wildness. And yet, in that shadow lies our power. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Your self-doubt, your self-sabotage, your recurring emotional patterns, they're not random. They're signals from your unconscious, begging you to look inward, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Self-discovery begins the moment you stop pretending to be who you're not. To the abyss within, Nietzsche warned. If you gaze long into the abyss also gazes into you. This isn't poetry. It's psychology. The abyss is the unknown within us. It's that existential emptiness you feel in the middle of the night. That panic when the noise stops and you're left with your own thoughts. That ache you can't name, but always feel. Most of us run from the abyss. We numb it with pleasure, distraction, success. But as Aldous Huxley warned in Brave New World, the price of comfort is often our freedom. We become slaves to pleasure, addicted to dopamine, afraid of stillness, afraid of ourselves. But what if the abyss isn't your enemy? What if it's your invitation to go deeper, to confront the pain, to ask the hard questions? Who am I beneath the roles I play? What do I truly value? What wounds am I avoiding? Because here's the paradox. What we fear the most often hides what we need the most. 3. The shadow and the light. Self-discovery isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Your traumas, your coping mechanisms, your addictions, they aren't weaknesses. They're survival strategies, but they're not meant to be lifelong identities. They're starting points for your return. Jung's concept of individuation is the process of becoming whole, not by being perfect, but by integrating all parts of yourself. Light and dark, strength and weakness, joy and pain. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. True self-discovery requires you to look at your fears and ask, what are you trying to teach me? Because your fear of abandonment. It may point to your need for a deeper connection, your anger. A signal that your boundaries are being crossed, your jealousy. A mirror showing you what you secretly desire. Everything is a message, if you have the courage to listen. 4. The false freedom of pleasure. We live in a world addicted to pleasure. We're told happiness lies in the next hit, the next phone buzz, like, comment, drink, show, achievement, but we're not happy. We're restless, anxious, disconnected. Why? Because as Viktor Frankl said, when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. Addiction, whether to substances, success, or validation, is not a failure of willpower. It is a response to pain. Gabor Maté reminds us, the question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. Pleasure isn't the enemy, but when it becomes the goal, we lose our compass. We sacrifice long-term meaning for short-term comfort. Self-discovery asks, what am I truly seeking? Not what the world told you to want, but what your soul longs for: connection, purpose, truth. 5. Resisting the herd. Friedrich Nietzsche introduced us to the concept of the Übermensch, the overman. Not someone superior to others, but superior to their former self. A person who rejects societal values that glorify weakness, conformity, and victimhood, and instead chooses to create their own values. To become the Übermensch is to rebel against the herd mentality. It's saying, I will no longer be defined by the expectations of others. It is choosing to be real over being liked, to be free over being safe. This isn't arrogance, it's responsibility. The responsibility to wake up and live intentionally. Ask yourself, am I living my life or someone else's? Do I make decisions from my core values or from fear of judgment? Am I following trends or forging my own path? The world needs fewer followers and more creators. 6. The courage to confront yourself. You can read every book, attend every seminar, meditate 4 hours a day, but if you're not willing to be honest with yourself, none of it matters. Self-discovery requires radical self-honesty. It's asking questions like, what are my unconscious fears? How do I manipulate others for love or validation? What truth am I afraid to admit? It's not comfortable, but it's real. And it's necessary. Growth doesn't come from affirmations. It comes from accountability. 7. From pain to power. Let's be clear. This journey isn't easy. You will be tempted to turn back, to numb the discomfort, to go back to your mask. But here's the truth. Pain is not the opposite of growth. It is the path to growth. Think of the caterpillar. In its chrysalis, it doesn't grow wings by thinking positively. It dissolves. It becomes unrecognizable before it becomes beautiful. You, too, may have to let go of everything familiar, identities, stories, beliefs, in order to become who you truly are. But on the other side of that transformation is freedom. 8. Awakening the self. When you commit to the path of self-discovery, you begin to see the world differently. You stop blaming. You start creating. You stop seeking validation. You start living from purpose. You stop fearing the unknown. You start embracing it. And slowly, something shifts. You begin to feel peace. Not because life is easy, but because you're aligned. You feel joy, not from external highs, but from internal clarity. You feel alive because you're nitrogen monoxide, longer surviving your living. 9. The final revelation here. Here it is, the truth that ties everything together. Self-discovery is not about becoming something. It's about unbecoming everything that is not you. It's the shedding of illusions, the unlearning of programming, the dismantling of the false self. And what remains? Presence, power, peace. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be found, not out there, in here. Because the person you've been searching for your whole life is you. So what now? Let this be your wake-up call. To stop numbing, to stop pretending, to stop settling, and to start remembering. Remember your strength. Remember your truth. Remember your worth, because your life doesn't change when you achieve more. It changes when you decide to finally meet yourself, and when you do. You don't just discover yourself, you discover your freedom. Welcome home. Thanks for looking.